I didn't grow up in the same era of video games as Link to the Past. Most of the stuff I played as a kid was stuff that came out in the 2010s era. Assassin's Creed, Wizard and Pirate 101. That's about it. It's just the games where 3D elements started becoming more common. And I've always kind of taken it for granted how far modern games have come in terms of art direction. Even games that try to intentionally replicate older styles, the fidelity of modern hardware still shows. Colors are more saturated, controls are more fluid, mechanics are better defined. Some of that really isn't the game's fault, though. Tech and our phones could send their rockets into space, that sort of thing. I'm also playing this on a PC, so by virtue of that alone, I've got loads of tools that aren't part of the original experience. I've got save states, I can rewind the game, plus I've got about 30 odd years worth of tips and tricks on how to figure out the puzzles that I'm stuck on by virtue of having an internet connection. Apparently when the game first came out, kids would miss the well where you get your first sword, and I can see how, but man, that's at least a little funny. So given time period and limitations, how does Link to the Past pull it off? Really damn well. When I first opened the map, first thing I said was something to the tune of, "Damn, that's so small." And it is, objectively, it is a small map. Each region isn't much more than a box full of obstacles. You can't even get into a lot of the places in the early game. But see, that's the trick. You would think that before you get any of the items or abilities for your mobility and exploration, that it would all be severely limited. You would be surprised. Okay, this part's embarrassing, but somehow I managed to miss a key item that you're supposed to get to progress, which are the Pegasus boots. I spent about 3 hours trying every item I had at the time. To get the boots, you can only get by knocking into the shelf with the book, with the boots. At the time, I'm not gonna lie, that kind of sucked. In hindsight, I still feel kind of silly, but also like a little bit vindicated. Now, I didn't know any of what I just said, because I went in blind as I could. I didn't even know the Pegasus boots were a thing in this game. But I ended up wandering the map for long enough that I managed to find other items by just fucking about. I found the ice rod by pathing up to the lake. I even found a fairy fountain up there because I saw a wall that looked explosive, and I was like, oh, okay, I've got pocket bombs. Boom. I found the net by talking with a sick kid in Kakariko Village, and even found an extra bottle by just checking the back entrance to the bar. And before this, I wandered into Lost Forest and found a mushroom that I initially thought was just a Mario reference. I just went, ooh, clickable item, unique from the environment. Boop, had it in my inventory for a good dozen hours before I pathed up the witch's hunt, and I didn't even know there was a quest. Still have no clue what magic dust is. I'm convinced you just gave a child a bag full of pocket sand. I think I figured things out backwards from how a true newbie would have. I was trying to memorize what obstacles looked interactable enough so that I could come back once I had the items I needed. I found parts of the world that were blocked by rocks I couldn't move, found points I couldn't reach without a grapple. I still remember, though, how I tried to do the stupid 15-second limit heart puzzle without the Pegasus boots. I got it down to exactly 15 seconds, damn it. Anyway, I can't say that the game doesn't get creative with how it hides its stuff. I also can't get mad at the fact that there's not a lot of cues for interactable objects that are obvious. You don't know if you can push or pull an object from a given position. Some destructibles aren't marked with a yellow paint smear, and I can see how that would frustrate the hell out of a kid. Though in that, I am grateful for the smaller map. A lot of the game is backtracking between areas once you get the new exploration item. Titan's Glove, Flippers, Hookshot, my beloved. After that point, that really isn't that bad. What really surprised me, though, was just how much stuff was just optional for finishing the game. You can miss whole armor upgrades, bottles, items you don't even need. Even now, as I'm writing this, there's apparently a thing called a magic cloak. Actually, no, wait, I'm going to search this up right now. Okay. So apparently, it makes you invisible and immune to all enemies? Bro, there was a fucking heart piece I couldn't get without crossing a spiked floor corridor. I just raw dogged that shit. You're telling me I could have been invincible? Like the title drop? Oh my god, I'm so mad. Holy shit. I got the fucking cane of light balls spinning around me, but I missed the game equivalent of the Nemean Lion's hide. I'm so angry with myself. You could have saved yourself so much suffering, babe. I need to get back on topic. I cannot keep lamenting this. Okay, map. That is also what I wanted to blab on. The use of the Dark World map. I know there are other games that do the parallel world influences the main world gimmick, but I imagine that Link to the Past is unique by virtue of the fact that it's one of the first. And really, beyond functionally doubling the map size, they get so creative with it. But the maps for both worlds aren't perfect one-for-ones. There are places where if you phase into the light world, because you're clipped into a non-walkable object, it just ejects you back in Dark World. I pathed to the bottom of where Link's house was in Dark World, saw a weird looking spot, phased back into Light World, and realized it was a tunnel entrance on a higher elevation. I figured I needed some kind of item from a dungeon, but no, I found a heart piece and a medallion that I didn't even know that I needed. I actually found all the medallions before I knew I needed to get them, because I kept seeing these weird stone tablets mentioning the Master Sword, so I pathed back to them once I had the Master Sword, and a way to get to the tablets. The fun part is that you can often just see the tablets in the light world, but they're always just out of reach. But you know, they wouldn't place an object with unique texture in the background if you couldn't interact with it. Each of them requires some use of cleverly entering and exiting the dark and the light worlds. And okay, so example, the portal mechanics are so cool because when you exit out of Dark World, you can't move the portal out once you're in Light World, but you can find other portals in the Light World by just fucking about the environment. I found one in a mega flowers, one was under a rock, another after I got a magic mallet, and just broken over of stumps looked interesting. There's even a dungeon in the Dark World that you cannot get into from the Dark World, but if you go to Light World and flood the passageway, you're able to swim across. Attention. Oh my god, I hated that level so much. I hate the water mechanics. Holy shit, I lost so many goddamn fairies just dodging bullets. There's a dwarf smith who offers you a sword upgrade if you find his partner. The funny part is that his partner is technically still in Kakariko, just the Dark World equivalent of Kakariko. You get fast travel by completing a quest line by going back and forth between an old man and his son who was lost in the Dark World. I don't know if it was a child or anything, but he looked like Link, and Link is a child, so that one kind of hurt, because, man, some kid just took a wrong turn and got stuck as a pixelated R3 artwork, and then turned into a tree. Like, it's a little funny, but man, that's messed up. Creative and messed up, but still, man, there isn't a lot of dialogue allocated to character work. Most of it's dedicated to establishing threats, Ganon the Triforce, the captured princesses, the evil wizard, or alternatively, it's put towards establishing goals. Collect the amulets, collect the princesses, and there really isn't that much room for characterization. Bits above where you have to discover fast travel, I find are more the exception to the rule. However, that's not to say that there isn't any characterization. I'm actually pleasantly surprised with what he did manage to find. It's not deep, but in the ending, there's a cutscene after you've defeated Ganon. We already know at this point about the wishing powers of the Triforce. That's how the Dark World ended up as it was. Ganon got a hold of the Triforce, made a wish to conquer the world, and futzed everything up. What gets added on is that the power of the wish is directly proportionate to the will of the wielder. So, say for example, someone wishes to be wealthy. An individual with a given amount of will would probably be able to be like, okay, here's $100 versus here's $100 million. Ganon was able to influence an entire dimension by just his will alone, which is pretty impressive. Evil, again, but like a little bit impressive. And we see what kind of wish Link would make given the power of the Triforce in the end. And what he wishes for is for all of the people to be reunited with their loved ones who were lost because of Dark World. We see him reunite one of the old sages, or a descendant of the old sages, with his family. When we first get to Kakariko Village, we see the aforementioned child and old man be reunited. We see that even the weird old man, who I couldn't figure out what his deal was, we see him in the desert just happily picking away at locks. I fucking knew there was something old about that man. I felt so vindicated when I saw him picking a lock. I fucking knew it. Even more tellingly, at the end cutscene, he places the Master Sword to sleep. That's the direct translation. The game's text itself uses the word sleep, carrying implications that the sword was both awake and alive while we were swinging about. I know future games we see the spirit of the Master Sword, but it's different when a degree of personhood is offered to something that even we, the player, only ever understood as a weapon. Link chose, without any input from us, to put the Master Sword to sleep once it was done. But yeah, we see every NPC that we come across is happier. Whatever evils Ganon afflicted them with, Link reversed them. And that's really telling. It shows a degree of compassion that maybe we don't see very well displayed in the actual showing of the game in the course of gameplay, but it's nice that they put the thought into it, that Link is a compassionate person. And more to the point, his compassion is so powerful, at the very minimum, it's equivalent to Ganon's own destructive urges. And that's just really sweet. That's really earnest, seeing how goodliness isn't cynically taken as just a sort of dismissive, passive, unreliable force. No, in this world, it saves everyone who's died. And it saves everyone who can be saved that we find on our adventure. And that's just sweet. That's really sweet. Also, this is my own headcanon, but I like to imagine this version of Link is illiterate because he is that young. Clearly, he's old enough to know how to wield a sword without putting a hole through his foot. But, Your Honor, have you considered that it's funny?